Listen closely. Can you hear it? In the silent glow of a radiology lab, a CT scanner hums. Its X-ray beam cuts through 3,000 years of linen, resin, and the hollowed body of an ancient Egyptian. On the monitor, bones appear in shades of white and gray, ribs, vertebrae, a dried lung, and then something unexpected. A dense, bright structure sits at the center of the chest. It is heart-shaped. It should not look this intact. And on the computer screen, as the slices scroll past, it seems to flicker, to pulse. This is not supernatural. This is not a horror movie. This is a radiological artifact created by ancient chemistry and modern physics colliding. A visual echo produced by embalming resins that have survived for 30 centuries. This is the story of how a ritual created to preserve the soul accidentally created a phenomenon that, in X-ray light, can look like a beating heart. To understand why this echo exists, we must understand Egypt. The ancient embalmers removed almost every major organ: the liver, lungs, stomach, intestines, even the brain. Pulled out through the nose because they believed it was useless. But the heart was everything. The Egyptians believed the heart, the ib, was the seat of intelligence, memory, emotion, and morality. In the afterlife, your heart was weighed against the feather of truth. If your heart was heavy with wrongdoing, it was destroyed forever. If it was light, you lived eternally. So the heart stayed in the body. But this created a problem. A moist, blood-filled organ sealed inside a drying corpse is a recipe for decomposition. Rot meant spiritual death. The embalmers needed a solution. For high-status burials, embalmers treated the heart. Sometimes it was removed, dehydrated in natron, wrapped, and placed back in the chest. Other times, the heart remained in place, but was coated with hot resin, mixtures of plant resins, oils, beeswax, and in later periods, carbon-rich bitumen. These resins were antimicrobial, they were sealants, and they created a material dense and durable enough to survive millennia. When poured hot into the thorax, the resin flowed around the heart and hardened into a solid, glass-like mass. In some bodies, large amounts of resin filled the chest cavity entirely. This was intentional. The resin slowed decay and sealed the body for eternity. Fast forward to the 21st century. We place such a mummy into a CT scanner. CT works by firing X-rays through the body and measuring absorption. Bone appears bright. Soft tissue appears gray. Air appears black. Dense resin appears extremely bright. Some resins, especially those with high mineral or carbon content, are dense enough to cause beam-hardening artifacts, a radiological effect where dense materials distort the X-ray beam. These artifacts appear as halos, glowing outlines, bright streaks, and fluctuating light intensities between slices. When the CT slices are scrolled quickly, or reconstructed in 3 dimensions, the brightness changes from slice to slice, can look like movement, a shimmer, a flicker, a pulse. The heart is not beating, the artifact is. The resin is effectively outshining the surrounding anatomy, and our digital reconstruction translates that distortion into motion. To an untrained eye, it looks shockingly alive. But the resin does more than create visual illusions. Sometimes the heart is preserved so well that its structure is still recognizable. In several mummies, including elite individuals studied by CT, we can see the shape of ventricles, major vessels, and calcifications in coronary arteries. This leads to one of the most important discoveries in paleopathology. For decades, many believed heart disease was a modern plague caused by processed food, smoking, and stress. The Horus study proved otherwise. Using CT scans on dozens of Egyptian mummies, researchers found widespread atherosclerosis. Even individuals who lived long before industrialization had calcified coronary vessels. Lady Rai, a woman who lived around 1530 BC, showed severe vascular disease. She may have died from a cardiac event. The resins that protected these hearts also preserved the clues to their final moments. Heart preservation did not always go perfectly. If embalmers damaged or lost the heart, it was a spiritual catastrophe. Without a heart, a person could not be judged in the afterlife. To fix this, they placed substitutes: heart scarabs, small carvings, linen and resin bundles, or gold-covered amulets. Gold is essentially opaque to X-rays. When a CT beam hits a gold scarab in the chest, the result is dramatic. A starburst, explosions of bright streaks radiating across the image. It looks like a supernova inside the ribcage. In some Greco-Roman child mummies, the thorax was filled with resin containing tiny gold leaves. Under CT, this creates shimmering noise, sparkles of brightness across the chest cavity. When filtered, the distribution sometimes follows the original contours of the pericardium, forming a haunting shadow where the heart once lay. Not a heartbeat, but a beautifully preserved ghost of one. This phenomenon forces us to rethink what preservation means. The Egyptians used resin to protect the heart for spiritual reasons. They wanted it intact for eternity. Thousands of years later, that same resin interacts with modern X-ray beams in a way that reveals anatomy, pathology, embalming technique, and the materials of an ancient civilization. Their ritual created the conditions. Our radiation reveals the consequences. It is not magic, it is physics. But it feels like a conversation across time. There is a poetic irony here. The Egyptians removed the brain because they believed the heart was the mind. Today, we use our technology to look inside their preserved hearts and understand their lives, their deaths, and their beliefs. The beating heart you see in the CT scan is not alive, but it is not dead either. It is the echo of a civilization that engineered immortality with resin, linen, and faith. The embalmers wanted the heart to survive the journey into eternity. They succeeded. 3,000 years later, the resin still glows. The image still pulses, not with blood, but with history. What makes this even more extraordinary is that this echo is not random. The density patterns inside the resin preserve information. By analyzing how X-rays scatter through these heart-shaped masses, radiologists can distinguish natural tissue from embalming material. They can identify whether the heart was left in place, removed and replaced, or symbolically reconstructed. In some cases, the resin forms internal casts of chambers and vessels, capturing the heart's internal geometry at the moment of death. This allows scientists to digitally reconstruct the organ in 3 dimensions, revealing disease, stress, and even possible causes of death. The heart becomes a biological record, frozen in time. What the embalmers intended as spiritual insurance has become medical data. The afterlife preparation of one civilization has turned into a diagnostic window for another. The CT scanner does not resurrect the heart, it decodes it. If you were captivated by the science behind this ancient heart, hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and keep looking closer. Veil Origins. Impossible Truths.